Hello everyone, this is your friend and I am back with a new fanfic part 2. The fanfic title is What If Naruto Accidentally Proposed to Hinata After Saving the World part 2. I hope you enjoy this fanfic, and if you enjoy this, so don't forget to subscribe my channel. Now let's start the fanfic. After talking out with Kakashi sensei, Naruto finally succeeded in convincing the guy in deploying him to a mission with Hinata. Naruto knew it was kind of selfish, but he hadn't tried going on a mission with her as his girlfriend. However, Ino greeted them with Sai in tow. Why the long face, Naruto? Did you think that you're going to a cruise together with Hinata-san, just the two of you alone? Sai entered the scene with that trademark smile of his, which was now gradually becoming more natural. Cruise? What cruise are you talking about? I thought we're going to inspect. The blonde questioned, wondering what his teammate was talking about. Ino laughed and clarified, yes, we're going to inspect this new business project. This trip's the dry run and we're going to try it together with several people. Oh, I guess we have to be there, so that if the ship doesn't run well, we can protect the people aboard it. Hinata speculated and her mission mates agreed. That would be fun then. I can't wait. Naruto beamed while internally thanking Kakashi sensei for this opportunity. Because, literally, this was like a free date. On the other hand, Sai couldn't help but notice the blonde's suspicious grin. The four of them headed to the bay to board the cruise. Excitement filled them as the ship sailed away from the anchorage. Ino admired the way Naruto held Hinata's hand while they immersed in the soft breeze, and while they watched the gap widen between the ship and the shore. They surely had come a long way, and there she was wondering when will her time come. I see, so you want that too, huh? Sai interjected inquisitively. What do you mean? The blonde girl reacted in a panicking manner after being interrupted from her thoughts. Holding hands, he plainly stated, which had her flustered. She hesitated, then coyly responded, turning her blushing face away from him, it's not like that. The dark-haired man chuckled. Alright, I'll add that to my notes. What are you, gosh, you don't really have a clue, don't you? Ino face-palmed and sighed in frustration. With her hands on her hips, she lectured him about a woman's heart. Of course, every girl would want her hand to be held by the guy she likes, you know. Ah, as I thought. You actually like that too. Taken aback, her face reddened while flashing him a questioning look, but he just gave her a smile. However, this smile seemed so different from the ones he normally gave, the way his eyes kind of sparkled and ow. She shook the thoughts away. What was she even thinking? Good thing an attendant appeared and invited them for a tour of the amenities. It's their first time seeing something like this. Ships were usually only used to move cargoes and people for the sake of transportation. Who would have thought that designing one in this way would actually make for a great vacation? The cruise housed around 100 of rooms in a sophisticated-looking lounge at the third, which would most likely serve them some good food and wine later on. There's also a pool and a mini garden in its viewing dock, it's unbelievable. Hinata, how about we go for a swim in the pool? Naruto excitedly invited. I haven't brought with me my swimsuit, but I guess we can dip our toes later. Hinata suggested. The blonde boy's eyes lit up. Ah, we can do it as the sun sets Ibeo. His girlfriend happily nodded her head in agreement, and he matched it with the most joyous grin. A smile formed on Ino's face, obviously marveling at the sweet sight of her friends being affectionate to each other. Yes, they were super cheesy, but she won't condemn them just because of she wanted the same for her too. She's happy for them, truly. She was about to sigh when she felt a pair of eyes directed at her. Her head turned to meet where the gaze was coming from, and she was welcomed again by Sai smiling at her with so much interest. Immediately, Ino turned her face away, but she couldn't hide how it got her all flustered. The group's amusement never dropped as they continued with the tour. It's all because the cruise's interior was a great visual treat they had never encountered before. Ino can't take off the smile from her face, marveling both at the beauty of the scenery and at the good company she's having. She found it nice to see Hinata finally getting out of her shell, especially with Naruto continuously taking pictures of her despite his girlfriend's shyness. Add their moments of playfulness when the two of them would have the time of their lives in a fit of giggles. She let out a dreamy sigh filled with hope and admiration. However, she didn't know what came to her, and curiously, she took a glance behind her. Sai was there with his smiling face as she thought he would have. Sharply, she averted her gaze away, trying her best not to get noticed. Why does he keep looking at me like that? Don't get her wrong. She's not feeling uncomfortable in a creeped out way, it's more of like her face was heating up. She just didn't expect she'd be getting that kind of feeling out of this guy. Well, Sai was good looking and there's not denying that, but he's as incredibly dense like Naruto and severely awkward too. Ino just didn't know how to approach this scenario, but it didn't mean that she didn't see this coming. Ino had been hanging out with Sai since he's Sakura's teammate and they had been on many missions involving medical development for their village. She knew that they were gradually getting closer, especially with him asking her questions about love and dating, and she won't deny that she kinda liked the undivided attention and interest he had for her. She just didn't know if Sai really knows what he's doing. The tour ended and they walked ahead to their own rooms. Ino decided to walk ahead of the boys, tagging Hinata along with her, so they could have a little bit of girl talk. Were placed in individual rooms. Just how cool was that? Naruto told Sai as they walked behind the girls. It's just too bad I want to share a room with Hinata. Oh, really? I wouldn't that if I were you. The pale man paused for a while before resuming his response. I mean, you would want that but would not at the same time. Ha, what do you mean? The blonde asked, but before Sai could answer him, a man approached the girls. Naruto clenched his fist and froze on the spot. It was just a friendly chat, maybe the guy was just lost. He tried to reason himself out when his friend nudged him. I think he's just asking for directions, Naruto. Don't be jealous. Jealous. Before Naruto could press Sai any further, they were already at their respective rooms. Naruto was bothered by what Sai mentioned. Was he really jealous, or maybe he's just scared to lose Hinata again like what happened with Tonari? What's the difference between the two? Taking a deep breath, he recalled how he promised Hinata that he would tell her about his feelings from now on. Hence, he decided to let his thoughts across and went knocking on her door. She let him in, enter, and there he saw her fixing her clothes while seated at the edge of her bed. What brings you here? Is anything bothering you? Hinata worriedly asked. Naruto chuckled and rubbed the back of his head sheepishly. It's not really a big deal. It's just. He sat beside her. Her focused gaze on his face took him out of his mind. Something didn't feel so right about this. He was feeling antsy and anxious. She was just so beautiful, and he wanted to kiss her right here, right now, but there's something wrong with the setting. It's just that the bed was very disturbing, let alone that they're alone in a room. It made him wanna do more than kissy. Scratch that. Naruto shook the ridiculous thoughts away from his head, and tried, as much as possible, to get off without looking so troubled. I just want to see your room, Dadbeo. He announced, hiding his emberment over the scenario, which elicited a giggle out of her. They paused for a moment of quietness, and Naruto never knew what awkward meant until now. Scared of what his mind might conjure, he hurriedly bade her, I gotta fix my stuff. See ya later, okay. A breath of relief escaped him as soon as he exited, however completely forgetting the very reason he went to pay Hinata a visit in her room. As planned, they all met at the activity deck where they watched the sunset with Hinata and Naruto having their feet dipped in the pool. The two were talking and laughing, visibly enjoying their time together. If Ino would be honest, she thought that this was close to impossible from happening, since Hinata was painfully timid and Naruto was severely dense. However, looking at them now being so dear to each other as the orange light of the sun setting came to play was just lovely, isn't it? Sai voiced out, which caught her attention. How did he know what she's thinking? I have been observing you. He proudly announced. Now, this would come off as weird for some, but somehow not for Ino. Why would you do that? She asked, hiding her state of being flustered. Because I want to. Again, he was looking at her with that smile, but this time she kind of noticed that his smile was not as stiff as the first time they met. I find you interesting. A blush appeared on her cheeks and she turned her face away. Her heart was beating like it never did before. How can he just say things she liked to hear so easily? Well, if Naruto and Hinata did end up together, then maybe Sai. She internally squealed and shook the idea away, but the smile on her face showed just how hopeful she was of everything. Like a fool staring at his phone with a painfully ridiculous smile on his face, Naruto waited for Hinata's reply. He was fresh out of mission and just gotten out of bath with his towel still draped around his shoulders. However, he couldn't contain his excitement. It's Valentine's Day tomorrow and, as a dutiful boyfriend, he asked Hinata out for a Valentine's date. Good thing, Kakashi-sensei spared them from missions tomorrow. To say he was pressured was an understatement. It's his first Valentine's ever. How the hell would he know what to do? Even if he was advised to just take things easy and just be himself, still he couldn't help but be anxious. Naruto. Really? Free tickets? Guess I have to get them from Kakashi-sensei tomorrow. The live-action adaptation of the Pervy Sage's Ica Ica Paradise would premiere tomorrow because it's Valentine's Day. Its production last month. Some of the producers asked him about the story, but he already forgot about the details. Heck, he was so young back then when he read the installment and couldn't even understand a thing about it. However, since he would be able to watch the film tomorrow, he thought that it would be a good refresher for him to start remembering the details of the story. After all, it was his master's masterpiece. He couldn't be prouder for him. Hinata. No need to worry. Sakura-chan handed them to me during our mission. Naruto. Thank goodness, so excited for tomorrow. Can you feel it? Hinata. Yes, Naruto-kun, especially with the number of exclamations you put in there. The blonde frantically rolled over his bed with a mile-wide grin spread across his face. They were dating for almost a few months now, yet this was the first time he got to know the wonders of text messaging. It's all because he always wanted to interact with Hinata face to face. But right now, Naruto, I totally heard your giggle right here. Naruto. Wait, are you blushing? He laughed. Who knew texting would be this fun? Good thing, he peered on Shikamaru exchanging messages with Tamari. He knew that something was unusual with his friend spending more time on his phone instead of napping. Now, he got to know that text messaging can also be used this way. Hinata. Naruto-kun. Naruto. I knew you would say that. Hinata. You're such a meanie. Turning off his room lights, he got a peek of the time and noticed that it's getting late already. Hinata must have a good amount of sleep for her well-being, and he must sleep now or else he might not be able to wake up on time tomorrow. Naruto. Oh no, it's late. We better sleep. Hinata. Yes, that's right. We'll get up early tomorrow. Good night, Naruto-kun. Naruto. Good night Hinata, see you tomorrow. 3. Hinata. See you tomorrow 3-3. With that, Naruto was taken aback. 2 hearts. Hinata replied with 2 hearts. He could have given her more hearts than that. Somehow, he felt defeated by her. A faint blush appeared across his cheeks as he hugged his pillow. Definitely, he's gonna catch up to her tomorrow. It had been almost a decade since he had been rereading the same old story. Some may call it smut, an indecent piece of literature meant to be read by perverts like him, but Kakashi thought otherwise. The Ica Ica novels provided what romance felt like for someone like him who didn't even get a chance to experience one. The uneasy feeling one gets when they were around the object of their affection, the awkwardness of not getting to say what you want to say to that person, and above it all, the thickening air because of the intense tension you had for each other. Kakashi wanted to experience all of those, yet the closest he gets was by reading Jiraiya's novels. But he was wrong. A live-action adaptation of the first novel would premiere today and it's more than a dream come true. He was eating a dessert alone in cafe as he decided to reread Ica Ica Paradise before watching the film, when he noticed a scene from the book about to unfold right before his eyes when Naruto and Hinata entered the establishment. Usually, Kakashi would just be a passive observer of his previous students, however the synchronicity was so odd one might think that Jiraiya had a foresight. Ica Ica Paradise was about the hero and the heroine who were both new to love. The two characters' eyes gradually opened to grown-up love as they began dating. If that kind of plot didn't even ring a familiar bell, just look at these two. Naruto sat across Hinata in a booth by the window. The blonde's grin was ear to ear and the ravenette's cheeks were dusted by a faint red. There, they were seated in front of each other just looking without saying a word. Ah, that unexplainable awkwardness, Kakashi thought. The two just started dating near the end of December, and it's not a surprise if they're still unfamiliar with the ropes of romance. Since the two were already comfortable with expressing affection to each other, one may speculate that Valentine's would play so easy for them, but no. That's not the case. Kakashi had a hunch that this special event had caused them a lot of pressure. Naruto had been requesting for missions with Sai, perhaps to pry his teammate with questions about this day. On the other hand, Hinata was seen all over the village these past few days together with the girls, and it seemed like they're onto something very intriguing. This is my first ever Valentine's date. Naruto broke the silence with a nervous chuckle. Hinata mumbled quietly. Mine too. True enough, they were overwhelmed by the fact that this was their very first Valentine's Day as couples. Hinata had been dreaming of this for so long, and that thought all along was overwhelming her. Meanwhile, Naruto wanted to make this day as perfect as possible. He wanted to make Hinata happy and be the man he deserved. Luckily, a waiter approached the two to get their orders, and an intervention sort of broke the tensed situation. Their desserts were served in no time, and the blonde started mumbling about random stuff that obviously didn't make sense. Kakashi could feel his previous student's anxiety just by the way he talked. Hinata, Naruto called out his girlfriend's attention while making a motion on his shirt. Seeing that Hinata didn't pick up, he reached out for her and tried to wipe the droplet of ice cream on her shirt. And just like that one scene in the novel, he froze in horror when he realized that he was wiping right at her chest. He panicked back at his seat and never spoke a word again. The two finished their desserts in silence while occasionally letting out nervous embered giggles whenever their eyes would meet. Soon, their bills arrived, and just like a scene from Ika Ika, the two paid their bills separately, with Naruto being so clueless at what was he doing wrong. Kakashi sighed. He could only wonder what would happen between the two when they finally get to watch the movie. The cinema was jam-packed with viewers, which were mainly couples. Naruto mused about how triumphant his godfather was in having this book made as a film. He was even proud to let her know that he helped the pervy sage with the sequels. Naruto didn't expect it, but he actually liked the plot of the film. The female lead had an uncanny shyness that resembled Hinata's. It also reminded him of his moments with Hinata at the moon, the way she looked so beautiful in his eyes, like he was just seeing her for the very first time. The movie and the story fully encapsulated that moment when you feel like the time had just stopped and you want it to remain still as your heat felt like exploding with all this funny and uncontrollable emotions. Naruto was totally immersed in the film, and he was even taking mental notes of some dating stuff from some of the scenes, when the actors started engaging in a peonate kiss, actively twirling their tongues. Oh, God, he almost choked on his drink. What the hell? That pervy sage. Now, he's regretting he told Hinata that he helped pervy sage with the other books. Well, Jiraiya wouldn't be called the mighty pervy sage if his novels were about purity and innocence. Seated there, as the actors began touching each other in ways Naruto hadn't even done to Hinata, memories of what would transpire in the story finally came back to him. They finally made sense. He didn't know why, but he was half scared and embered that chills ran up his spine. He didn't know why having Hinata here beside him was making everything so difficult and beyond awkward. So awkward he'd definitely pee out. It's not that he hadn't kissed her that way, it's just that the main characters were going to do far beyond that. Like, right now, without thinking things through, Naruto grabbed Hinata's face, slightly squishing her cheeks in between his palms as he made her face him. He was so goddamn nervous about Hinata getting to see the next scenes to unfold in the story. "Na Naruto-kun," she whispered. Taking in a deep breath, he scrammed his brain on what to do next. The actors started moaning on the screen, and he knew so well what they were doing now. He didn't know what that was before, but he certainly knew what it was right now. Hinata, I'm so happy I get to spend the Valentine's Day with you, Dadbao. Okay. He certainly wanted to tell her that, but not like this. The other moviegoers surely heard his very loud voice, and some even hushed him out. Me too, Naruto-kun. Hinata blushed and flashed a shy smile. But we have to be quiet, because we're inside the cinema. She giggled quietly and was about to return her attention to the movie, when Naruto suddenly pulled her in for a tight embrace, burying her face into the crook of his neck. "Jay, just a little longer please," Naruto pleaded, his voice serious and low. Hinata took in his words and loosened up in his embrace, fully surrendering in the moment. She definitely knew what was happening in the film, and to be honest, she didn't know how to look Naruto-kun in the eyes after the show. Good thing he hugged her, which put her mind at ease, and this moment immediately became the highlight of their date for her. He was just so warm and so real, making it clear that she was no longer dreaming anymore. She finally got to be with Naruto-kun, and that's the most important above all. Meanwhile, it's a different story for Naruto. He was apparently aware of the moaning, the grunts and the skin-to-skin slapping sounds that were happening in the film. And he got Hinata so close to him. He could just feel how soft she was and how sweet she smelled. Of course, he couldn't touch her. Definitely, not in the way the main characters were doing it in the movie. He was not a perv. Well, maybe he was, but not with Hinata. However, if he's going to be more honest, there's something inside him that wanted to. Eventually, he let go of her after the grand scene ended. The couples were equally blushing as the movie came to a close. They all had that knowing look that something was about to go down after this, but Hinata had comfort sprinkled all over her face, while Naruto looked like he just successfully sailed into the eye of the storm. Naruto-kun, your shirt, Hinata pointed out to him as they walked out of the cinema hall. The blonde inspected his shirt and saw that he actually choked on that scene. However, he couldn't let this be the end of their date. Is it alright if I go get changed in my apartment? Hinata agreed and they headed towards his place. Along the way, they were met by Ino, Sakura and Sai, who greeted them in ping. Did you enjoy the film, huh? Sakura teased with a mischievous grin targeted at her teammate. Hinata just innocently giggled, but Naruto gulped big time. Naruto, what can you say about your master's work? The pink-haired further pressed. Miraculously, the blonde was tight-lipped and just let out nervous chuckle. Have you watched it already? Hinata asked. We're about to. Ah, that reminds me, we should get going. Sakura switched her attention to her companions, who seemed to have their own world. That's it. Maybe she better start seeing someone. The three bade farewell as Naruto and Hinata strolled the less crowded and the fastest way to his home. Naruto talked about how much he liked the chocolate Hinata gave him, that he consumed all of it while watching the film, and Hinata told him how Hanabi helped her in making them. They were about to enter his room, when Hinata got a feeling like someone was trailing them. She looked behind her and used her Byakugan, but before she could even inspect any further, Naruto-kun called her in. Hinata was retracing today's events as she waited for Naruto-kun get changed. This day was more than enough for her. She would never ask for anything more. Hinata, I'm done. You okay there? Do you want me to get you something? Naruto emerged from his room and sat beside her on the couch. She nodded her head sideways and looked at him full of contentment. He returned her gaze, and it was as if she was vacuumed into her eyes instantly, so caught up with their beauty. Before he even noticed it, he was inching so close to her face, his hand was atop her clothed thigh, slowly lifting her skirt up. Their lips met and her head fell back on the couch. He hovered her as he traced kisses from her lips down to her neck, staying at that place, placing tender kisses, and eventually nipping a part of her in between his lips. A moan escaped Hinata, and Naruto was slightly brought back to his senses, but he was so wrapped up with her that he couldn't talk himself out of this. Needless to say, Hinata got that look in her eyes that said she wanted it too. He came back to her lips again, and no matter awkward that scene in the film was, it was far from awkward in real life. There's that unspoken intimacy when they got so lost in each other's taste that was making them want to merge with each other and be one in any way. Naruto parted slightly from Hinata as his hand finally reached the hem of her shirt. Slowly, he was raising it up, asking for her consent. He peered upon her reddened face as she gave him small nod matched with a loving smile. There's no going back now. He dipped in for a kiss again while he roamed his hand under her shirt, skimming her soft skin. He was so near in getting the feel of her soft, which he secretly wanted to get lost into all this time, when a thump came roaring from his window. Naruto and Hinata jumped right out of their skins. What was that? What were they doing? Not only was there someone out there probably watching them, but they were about to do something that will drastically change their relationship. Well, even if it didn't really go there, they both knew that something had certainly changed. Without a word, they hurriedly peered outside the window. They didn't know what to feel on what they saw, but it's for sure they were disappointed. Hanabi, what are you? Hinata said in surprise at the sight of her younger sister sprawled on the ground. Konohamaru. Naruto called out to the boy while he gave him an apologetic grin. The two headed out of the apartment and met the younger ones who were most likely following them this whole time. We have to talk about this, Hanabi. Hinata mildly reprimanded her sister as she just puffed her cheeks and looked away. Are you spying on me? I can't believe it. Naruto questioned Konohamaru, who was obviously guilty. I'm sorry, Oni-chan. I didn't know that I would fall. Naruto and Hinata sighed and exchanged a look, a very awkward one. A blush crept across their faces. Naruto started but didn't know how to continue. It's okay, Naruto-kun. Hinata deeply inhaled and beamed at him. She looked over her sister and she just knew that she was not gonna leave them alone. I guess we have to go. Why yeah, take care. That's all he could say. Who knew their Valentines would end up like this? Naruto watched as Hinata left with Hanabi in tow. He was just plain speechless. He didn't know what to feel after getting all his hopes up. He was so damn near and now he didn't know if what happened made it more awkward between them. All he knew was he wanted to hold her so close again and it would feel so good if she wanted it too. However, a text message came and, Hinata, thank you, for today Naruto-kun. I loved everything. Aili. 3. Naruto reflexively grinned. Honestly, he didn't understand what Aili meant. All that mattered was he made Hinata smile today, and even though she beat him again with the sweetest message, he felt like he won in making her happy and making their first Valentine's Day together worth remembering. Naruto. Geez. 333. It had been months since Naruto expressed his intention to marry Hinata. Yes, he frequented the Hyuga Manor especially after the new year and was regularly conversing with his future father-in-law about topics concerning gardening, politics and, of course, marrying Hinata. However, last night, he read from one of the magazines he bought with Sai that a guy must do this and that to, formally, propose, and the worst part was he was already talking about weddings with Hinata and her family without him getting to do that proposal thing. Learning that Hinata would come home from a mission tonight, he made the necessary preparations to surprise her with a proposal at the playground he was often at. Complete with roses and all. He read from the magazine that girls love this stuff, hence he made sure that everything was perfect. Nervously tapping his feet while waiting for her, Naruto immediately looked when he noticed someone arriving. Naruto-kun. There, she approached him ever beautiful under the moonlight. She was wearing this pink dress as if she had an idea of what's about to go down tonight. He gulped as he took in her appearance. How did she know? Shrugging the thought away, he pondered that it didn't really matter. The important thing was to get down on one knee so he could now properly propose to her after the long wait he had put her through. Hinata, here. Naruto reached out the bouquet of flowers and added, also. You look really beautiful. He giggled and scratched the back of his head. Her eyes widened and gave out a somewhat successful smile. She opened her mouth as if she was about to say something, when Naruto cut her. Wait, before anything else, I want to do this once and for all. The blonde got to one knee, however, he froze. Shit. The ring. Completely stupefied and terrified, Naruto just stared at her. How terrible. He managed to get flowers and all, yet how the hell did he forget about the ring of all things? He just stared at her nervously, still trying to figure out how to explain things to her, when he heard someone else called him. Naruto-kun. Naruto looked behind him and saw another Hinata. She's in her usual mission gear, and she's with Sakura-chan. How did this? He looked at the one in front him, but it poofed. How the Konohamaru? The blonde quipped, mixed with disbelief. There, he immediately saw the distressed young boy. I was trying to tell you that core, it ain't my fault. I was practicing this jutsu and was trying to test it out on you when you suddenly pulled that off. Konohamaru quickly hid behind Hinata after giving her the flowers. Letting out a big exhale, Sakura came by Naruto's side and added, if anything, he saved you. You should be thankful, Naruto. Is it just me or you forgot to bring a ring? Saw Sakura-chan. Naruto's face contorted apologetically. He casted a glance to Hinata, who was now giving him a sympathetic smile. How shameful, Tt Ibeo. Chuckling, Hinata came to console him. It's okay, Naruto-kun. I told you before that the ring might get broken with my jutsu, so it's totally fine. Are you sure? Sakura face-palmed and laughed. You're really lucky, aren't you? Since it was already late, they soon went their own ways with Naruto walking Hinata home. However, their peaceful little time together ended as soon as they neared the Hyuga Manor. Naruto's grip on Hinata's hand tightened as fans and certain villagers crowded them. They bombarded the two with questions about their relationship with specific focus on their wedding. Now, Naruto was regretting buying that Konoha Weddings and Beyond magazine with Sai. He's kind of sure that the gossip emerged from that. It's true. It's true that we're getting married, Dadbeo. The blonde answered proudly, which made the Ravenet blush. The response left the people in surprise, while some conjured more theories. The others still pressed more questions, and this had Naruto contemplating on whether he could team up with Hinata so they can escape these people through a transformation jutsu. Good thing certain Hyuga clansmen ushered the two of them to safety. I'm sorry, Hinata, the blonde started when they reached the more secluded gate of the manor. Hinata didn't give him any word and, instead, gave him a hug. This is nothing, Naruto-kun. Indeed, this was nothing. Definitely, nothing compared to all the things she had been through due to her love and admiration for him. Naruto returned the embrace, feeling her so close, like this was the most peaceful place here on earth. How he wished that the people could give them a rest. Kiba's laughter rang as he walked approaching Konoha fresh from an overnight mission in a neighboring village with Shino and Naruto. How come you didn't notice that it wasn't even Hinata's chakra but Konohamaru's? The Inuzuka asked in between his laughter. He just couldn't believe it. Maybe because he was so nervous. Shino answered for Naruto, who was equally ashamed of what happened. What will I do now, Dadbeo? Naruto asked in frustration. How can I get Hinata a decent proposal after what happened? Kiba patted his back in consolation. As far as we know, you returning her feelings was enough for Hinata. I know that, but don't stress yourself too much, Naruto. Shino pushed the bridge of his eagles up his nose and said, everyone will be having a bath at the onsen later, which means us, boys, can talk it out. I think that's the best option for you. What's gonna work? Teamwork, right? Kiba added just to enliven him up, but no further words were needed, for as soon as Naruto saw Hinata his face lit up, feeling relief just by seeing her again. As much as he wanted to carry Hinata around and spin her like a princess, he knew that this would just be a public spectacle and the villagers would disrupt them again. Somehow, he just wanted to spend time with her alone. But he can definitely carry her like he was planning to, right? Hinata. With a mischievous grin on his face, he sped up to her. Oi, Naruto, what are you? Kiba called out, but the blonde didn't seem to hear. Naruto carried Hinata away and leapt atop of the roofs. The villagers were equally intrigued, but they couldn't do anything since the couple were already out of sight. Naruto-kun, what's happening? Hinata asked as she wrapped an arm around his neck. Her heart couldn't stop racing. She didn't expect him to surprise her like this. It's a secret, he said, which was followed by his playful chuckle. Stopping atop the Hokage mountain, specifically his father's head, he brought Hinata back to her feet. Here, they won't disturb us here, Naruto announced, fully proud of his idea. Hinata looked upon him and down on the view of whole Konoha with the dusk sky. And also very beautiful, she added. Just like you, He giggled and grinned at her with his eyes fully squeezed. She also chuckled at her comment more freely than she usually did. I can't believe this, Hinata. You're not blushing anymore, Ibeo? He asked, intrigued. Of course, his reaction was very animated. Really? I haven't noticed. She placed her hands on her cheeks with eyes widened. A confident smile spread across her face, and she added, maybe I'm more comfortable around you now, Naruto-kun. Yeah. He tucked few strands of hair behind her ear and placed a soft kiss on her temple. I think that's better. She rested head on his shoulder, and he wrapped an arm around her frame. Wait, but I'll miss your blushing face. He whined, which caused her to laugh. There, they drew out a relaxing exhale at the same time, watching the sun set as the establishments in their village started to light up. Even our village changed a lot, Hinata pointed out. Yeah, The Ichiraku's is getting bigger and bigger. There are also those tall buildings with fancy lights. They're really wonderful to look at. I'm so happy we get to see Konoha like this. Hinata saw the gleam in Naruto's blue eyes. It was as if this was his most precious dream, the one he'd been fighting for this whole time. And he was her dream. To see him so happy like this. She smiled and placed her hand on his chest. How can she keep this moment forever? And soon, we will change too. She said, parting slightly to face him. Yup. That's right, and I'm super excited for it, you know. Me too, Naruto-kun. I have faith that just like our village, we will weather any change and we'll remain strong. She took his hand and clasped it with both of hers. As long as we're together, your hand in mine. At that moment, where everything was making sense, all he could do was stare at her, completely moved by what she said. To be honest, he wanted to bawl in front of her, but not right now. Instead, he pulled her in for an embrace, which she immediately returned. Hinata, he murmured while he hid his face on her hair. Naruto-kun, she motioned circle at his back. Are you alright? I just want to say your name. They remained still for a while, relishing each other's presence and warmth, when Naruto suddenly pulled away. Whoa. Hinata gave him a concerned look. Did something happen? Hinata, his face somewhat mortified. Did you just propose to me? She pondered for a second on what he meant until she let out a laugh, and he ranted on how he could ever let her pull off a better proposal than him. Naruto here wanted to, decently, propose to Hinata. Kiba announced to his batchmates at the onsen. Shikamaru turned around and faced a big stone. He's not having any of this anymore. Choji squinted his eyes and asked, didn't he already ask her at Ichiraku's? You already told Hinata that her cooking is your new favorite food, and you'll love to have it every day. Isn't that a proposal yet? And you already gifted her the keys to your apartment. Isn't that the loveliest form of actually letting someone know that you're sharing life with them? Shino added. They all fell silent as if there was an agreement. But that's for her birthday TT Ibeo. Naruto mumbled quietly. Even so, I think it's enough. Sai quipped and added, or else you'll only ruin it. It doesn't matter. I'll find another way, he affirmed to his colleagues, and they just gave him a resigned sigh. They were kinda sure he'll fail it again for some reasons. Rock Lee gave him a thumbs up. I support you, Naruto-kun. Just remember, when it's love it should be youthful like the spring. Here they go again. Their conversation eventually shifted to missions and to some of their hobbies. Ah, how they missed times like this, until they heard the girls' laughter on the other side. Remember when you used to peep on them? Sai interjected, which made the men froze. No, they couldn't do that anymore. Kiba eyed his friend mischievously and suggested, hey, how about we try to do it again? Whatcha say, Naruto? Ha, the blonde reacted. What do you say we take a peek at the girls, huh? Just like the old times. The brunette coaxed playfully, while his friends completely knew that he was just teasing Naruto. They're completely mature not to do that sort of thing anymore, however they wanted to see their friend's response out of sheer fun. Naruto was left baffled. There's a lot of questions in his head, and of those was, when did he ever stop taking interest in peeping at the women's bath? Yeah, Naruto. It would be fun. Sai further pressed. The blonde shook his head, and aggressively dismissed the idea. How dare you? Hinata is right there. I'm not gonna let you peep on her, you perverts. The boys' laughter and banters were clearly heard from the other side where the girls had their dip. All of them were wearing relieved smiles on their faces. It was like they finally got their first bath without worrying about any peeping boys, especially with Naruto being the one against it. Who would have thought this day would come? Sakura commented. Totally. Ino backed up. Hello everyone. I would just like to inform everyone that my updates would switch from every other weekends to every other Tuesdays due to my new schedule in grad school. Are you still Naruto-senpai's girlfriend? A girl with her group of friends asked Hinata. The moment she entered the gates of Konoha, she was welcomed by them. She knew that these girls were stalking her for a while now, but they seemed harmless, so she let them be, but she's having a very uneasy feeling about everything right now. Why yes, I am. Why? She asked. Although she's wishing Sakura-chan and Ino-chan were with her, she knew she must face these girls alone. After all, she's a wartime kunoichi and have already faced grimmer obstacles than her fiancé's fangirls. How come? I thought it was the pink-haired one whom he's been crushing on this whole time. The other one spoke, and they all agreed. Hinata closed her eyes to calm herself. She shouldn't be carried away by all this. Naruto stretched his arms and yawned so loudly. Who knows, being a Hokage meant paperworks, right? Yuck. Shikamaru, I finished this stuff already. Can I go now, please? His raven-haired friend knew that Hinata was about to be back from her mission. He didn't even bat an eye on the stack of papers. Whatever, just go. The blonde cheered and hurriedly went out of the office while saying goodbye to everyone. He hadn't seen Hinata for like a day. Can you imagine it? A day. He must see her now. He had a lot to tell her. Approaching the gates, however, he saw Hinata being cornered by some of the girls who used to follow him. He saw discomfort in her stance and he immediately walked towards the scene. That's true, but what's between me and Naruto-kun right now are much more important. I'm sure you'll understand what it means one day. I'm sorry, but I think I have to. Hinata. Naruto went by her side and the girls screamed. He might be dense sometimes, but Sakura-chan had discussed with him about this already. Now, he's certain of what to do. He just ignored the girls and proceeded on welcoming Hinata back to the village. I miss you, a lot. He hugged her tight in front of them and Hinata embraced him back. Me too, Naruto-kun. She hid her face in his chest and muttered, we're in front of them. I know. He whispered happily and giggled. Naruto held her hand and walked her away from the crowd announcing, we have a date. I'm sorry. The girls whined from behind them, which made Naruto and Hinata giggle. It's such a relief that they could finally enjoy the day with just the two of them. Still, Naruto was worrying how long will those girls bother Hinata. He hadn't heard what they said, but he's sure that it bothered her somehow. The only thing he could do was lure her and make her happy. He brought her to her favorite stationery shop. She told him that this was where she bought the materials for the red scarf she knitted him. They were browsing through the different yarns and beads and some other sewing items too. Oh, Hinata, this color looks. Naruto looked around to see that a stranger stopped Hinata for a conversation. It looked like they knew each other by the way they talked. He foolishly hid behind a shelf to eavesdrop into their conversation. I never thought that you'll be as beautiful as ever. The dumb stranger said, and Naruto immediately came out from his hiding. Oh, thank you. Actually, I'm with Naruto-kun. Hinata was surprised to find him already beside her with an arm around her shoulder. That's right. Naruto laughed, but it wasn't the happy kind of laugh. I'm the boyfriend. He reached his hand out to the guy. The two shared an awkward handshake and the stranger already said goodbye. There was tension and Naruto wouldn't deny it. This made him quiet for the duration of their date, until they stopped by at the park. Is everything alright with you, Naruto-kun? Hinata finally asked. Naruto chuckled and rubbed the back of his head. Nah, I'm okay. He wasn't and Hinata knew. They remained silent for a while as if they're both trying to collect their thoughts. Naruto knew that he couldn't be petty. He knew he couldn't just be upset at Hinata just because he's jealous. It's his problem. He's the one at fault, so making her feel bad was something so unsettling for him. In addition, he's sure as hell that those girls earlier said something rude to Hinata already. However, he's frustrated. Because despite keeping everything to himself seemed to be the best option, he's not one to keep his thoughts away. He's always been so transparent. Perhaps, there's a way he could better put how he felt. Hinata, Naruto called out and she tilted her head sideways as a response. I have this silly question, please don't take it seriously, it's just, what if there's a girl who really wants to take me away, just like Tonari but it's a girl and it's me and I know it's stupid, just forget it. Hinata stared at him, her eyes wide from the question, but then she averted her gaze, a sweet yet melancholic smile formed on her face. If Naruto-kun wants to go then, I'll let you go. What? Naruto was surprised. Maybe he should just keep his mouth shut, but, you won't fight for me. There was ache in his voice which she quickly picked up on. She rapidly turned to him and tried to explain, it's not like that. What I meant was, now, he made her feel bad. It was all his fault, he thought. He fake chuckled and said, I told you. That's a silly question. Don't worry, Hinata. I get it. I get it, TT Ibeo. They fell quiet for a while until he choked up. Okay, I didn't get it, but that's a bad question after all. I mean, if Naruto-kun loves someone else then, I'll set you free. She explained. Would you? Would you really believe that I'll love someone else other than you? He asked and his tone said that he couldn't just believe it. He's hurt. Naruto-kun. Hinata didn't know how to properly word it, especially when their love for each other came from the polar sides. Naruto saw worry in her eyes and knew that they weren't understanding each other at the moment. Maybe I'm just so tired from those boring paperworks. You also need to get a rest from your mission, TT Ibeo. He smiled at her, but there's still a tint of sadness in it. Let's rest for today. The walk home was silent. Hinata was always quiet, but she knew that there was something unspoken this time. She took a bath after getting home and prepared for bedtime, all the while she hadn't heard a word from Naruto-kun. She laid into her bed, but her stare was unmoving from the dolls she created, which she modeled after her and Naruto-kun. She couldn't bring herself to sleep. After all, this was their first misunderstanding as a couple. She wondered if she handled it well, if space was really what they needed, or was it better if they should have just talked it out. She was musing and overthinking about what transpired when she sensed a familiar presence approaching her room. The windows made a sound and she tried to turn her head to meet its direction. Naruto-kun, she whispered, her voice seeming loud due to the silence of her room. Shish, Hinata. She attempted to face him, but he embraced her and held her firmly in her place. No words were needed at that moment. Lying there, wrapped in the silence of her dark room, they were welcomed by the reality of their love for each other. I'm just so scared that I might, Naruto said with a voice carrying some hint of ache from the past. Naruto-kun, Hinata shifted and faced him. She cradled his face in between her hands. Her eyes looked at him with pure sincerity and tears triggering to form. I want you to be happy. She spent most of her life pining for him from afar, while he suffered for almost letting the love he dreamed of all his life slip from his grasp. All they could do was accept that, although they may love differently, the feelings they have for each other was of the same weight and depth. Hinata was used to letting him go, but Naruto couldn't afford to lose her anymore. He cradled her cheek with his hand, gently brushing the light blush she had with his thumb. I'm happy with you. With that, they pressed their foreheads together. There's just something so sweet yet lonely about their love. It almost felt like they owe every moment of being together to the world. It's like sometime, some other day, in a distant future, the universe might take them away from each other again. However, they won't miss it for the world. They'd rather battle through the pain, the loneliness and the uncertainty than live a life not having each other to have, to hold and to love. Naruto squeezed her tight to him. Right here at this very moment, space and time didn't really matter. A smile appeared on his face when he felt Hinata reciprocate his embrace. Life was good even if it's just for now. The wind blew quite strongly outside, and it prompted Naruto to snuggle a bit more, and Hinata giggled at his cuddliness. However, it also made the vase near Hinata's window to fall outside, its shattering was obviously audible. He forgot to close her window. I gotta hurry. I just sneaked in, Naruto half whispered and immediately stood up, planning to escape from her window. Oh shit. They couldn't be caught this way. They weren't even doing anything. Be careful, Naruto-kun. Hinata bade him and he flashed her a alluring grin. He peered outside before jumping. Unfortunately, some of the clansmen were already roaming near her bedroom from the outside of the manor. She got up to help Naruto and tried to handle the scenario. I just forgot to close my window. I'm sorry, Ko-san. She informed him, her former guardian who knew her so well. Somehow, she knew about this too, and she knew for sure that Ko might have an inkling for the real reason behind this. His expression said it so. The man just let out a sigh. Sure, Hinata-sama. Just please remember to close it next time. By the way, Hiyashi-sama might be approaching your room with Hanabi-sama. Thank. Before she could even finish her sentence, she and Naruto both heard footsteps approaching her room. Hinata calmly resigned to their fate as Naruto panicked and hid under her bed. The door to her bedroom opened and, indeed, it was her father. Are you okay, Hinata? He asked. Yes, it's just my window is. Hanabi entered the scene and rolled her eyes. Seriously, do you think hiding under the bed will get away from our Byakugan, Uzumaki Naruto Nisan? Hinata turned her reddened face away as Naruto crawled from under her bed and begged for his life. I'm sorry. So sorry. I promise. I don't have that kind of intention. I just wanted to apologize to Hinata and, I don't mind it if you just kill me now, it's all my fault, Dadbeo. Hiyashi sighed after hearing the blonde's plea. Let's talk. Oh no. Otu. Hinata tried to interject, but her father mildly cut her off. I'll take care of this, Hinata. This is for your own good. But, Naruto got up and confidently urged her, your father's right, Hinata. I gotta face this. I got reckless after all. Hinata watched as her father took Naruto to a separate room for a private conversation. She stood there nervously with her sister. Who knows? Her father might be against them. This was at odds with the proper Hyuga decorum anyway. She knew so well that Naruto-kun would fight for her and she would stand by him too, but getting together when someone's against it just felt so wrong. Also, the emotional weight of it, after all they've been through, altercations like this especially from her family. What? Naruto's loud voice bellowed outside, which made Hinata more nervous. Consequences of being mischievous, Nei-san has never been this daring. Her little sister teased her in attempts to diffuse her tension, but it was not effective enough. The shoji doors opened, and the two girls braced themselves for some drama. Next month, the Hyuga head advised. No problem. Naruto agreed with so much excitement. Naruto approached Hinata and held her hands tightly. I'm super excited, Ibeo. It was an easy conversation, I would say. Her father commented rather satisfied. The blonde let go of her hand and beamed joyously. Our wedding is moved next month. What? The Hyuga sisters said in surprise with Hanabi clinging to her sister's arm. Yes, we have already discussed it, Hinata. Since you're both at the age where, it is important to take matters like this into consideration. Hiyashi reasoned. Naruto nodded his head enthusiastically and proudly said, right. Plus, I don't like other guys bothering you anymore. Those girls can be extreme at times too. So what do you say? Yes, they already had talks regarding their wedding for countless times now. Kakashi-sensei even paid a visit for a proper conversation regarding this matter since Naruto-kun had no parents left. Also, the other clansmen were even more excited for the both of them that she caught some of the ladies picking out her wedding kimono just for fun. Hinata examined the serious look of her father, the excited sight of her fiancé and her sister's confused gaze. I guess I have to think about it. But we can start with the preparation. Yes, we can prepare now. I'll tell Kakashi-sensei tomorrow. Naruto announced. If that's your decision, I'll call in some of our affiliates so you can choose the catering services tomorrow. Her father informed. Hinata and Hanabi shared a look with each other and both girls sighed. Even if she's still going to think about it, indeed, it looked like the wedding's gonna happen next month. Cherry blossoms began appearing and their wedding date was drawing near. Before things get even busier, Naruto made sure to invite Hinata for their official date as a couple. Yes, they got out a couple of times, but those were before, during or after missions. He hadn't formally invited her out like how he read it in one of Sai's magazines. If it wasn't because of that magazine, he wouldn't know that he should be the one paying for their date's expenses. Naruto rolled around his bed beating himself while thinking of the many times he let Hinata pay for herself, and even worse were the moments she treated him several bowls of ramen. Naruto. Hinata. Turning around, Sakura saw the two of them walking toward her, dressed in street clothes. What's this? A date? Yup. For once, we're both off duty, Naruto said. What about you, Sakura? Asked Hinata. A meeting with Ino at the hospital. I heard about that, you know. Ah, that, what you call it, children's. Something center. The children's therapy center, she corrected him. So where are you off to? Dinner. Hinata nodded. At Ichiraku. Hey. Naruto came over to whisper into Sakura's ear. So, like, in the copy of an I borrowed from Sai, it said that the guys should pay for the date, but a full course dinner's super expensive. Sakura giggled at the slightly pale Naruto. It's okay, she whispered back. You don't have to try that hard. What are you talking about? Hinata her head to one side. Oh, no, it's nothing. Nothing at all. Naruto grinned and rubbed his stomach with one hand. Looking forward to ramen. Perhaps because the gesture was ridiculous, Hinata burst out laughing. And as the two of them smiled at each other, Sakura felt a broad grin spread across her own lips. It had been a few months since Naruto and Hinata became an official couple. Sakura had fretted more than a little at the new relationship between late bloomer Hinata and pure-hearted Naruto, since she was so close to them, but now that they were so happily joined, even that fretting was a fond memory. The news spread like wildfire through the village. Their former CL mates and the older ninja teased them for a while, but that period was over now. The other day, she had gotten an invitation. Their wedding was not far off. Right. Why don't you come for ramen with us, Sakura? Naruto asked, grinning broadly. Look, you. Sakura sighed. What would happen with me there? You're both off duty together finally. Go and date yourselves, silly. She stepped behind them and gave their backs a little push. She watched as they walked off down the market street. Naruto made some joke and Hinata laughed. They looked so happy. Hinata was still chuckling silently as they walked hand in hand. Naruto didn't know what suddenly gotten into his girlfriend. Oh, but she knew what was running inside his mind. She knew that he was thinking of ways to give her a good time. This quality of him to see people happy was what really made him so charming, and it made her fall for him all over again. Are you alright, Naruto-kun? You must be hungry already. Hinata checked up on him for the second time. She light-heartedly chuckled and cheered. I told you it's fine. I'm actually very excited to have ramen with you. Naruto couldn't help but form puppy eyes. How could he deserve her? On the other hand, much to Naruto's dismay, he didn't expect that a full-course dinner would cost that much. He had given up some of his budget for their wedding expenses despite Hiyashi's advice to save it for some other things instead. Perhaps, he should have listened to his soon-to-be father-in-law. This was not the kind of date he had in mind. When he learned of his feelings for Hinata and for how long she was pining for him, he swore he would give her the world. However, he couldn't even give her a set meal for God's sake. Whoa, your invitation looks so pretty. Ayame chimed as she marveled at the scroll sealed a camellia flower fresh from Ino's flower shop. How's the wedding preparation going on so far? Well, we distributed invitations this morning. We have to plan for the banquet, the attire, the pre-nuptial parties, the decorations, so on and so forth. Hinata listed down. It was a lot, but it's great to be taking a little break. Naruto rubbed the back of his head and sighed. True, it was a lot. Look at you two. Who would expect you'll end up like this? It all seems just like yesterday when Hinata will treat our little clueless Naruto for ramen. Now it's the other way around. And on the next few months you're finally getting married. Ayame bore a dreamy look on her face as she wiped dry the bowls, appearing as if she was recalling a lot of past details. Hinata lightly laughed at the memory of a young Naruto-kun, while Naruto chuckled in emberment, thinking how silly he was when he was younger. Sorry to keep you waiting. Tyuki announced as he arrived with the anticipated bowls of ramen. Here, Ichiraku special date ramen. 2 large bowls of premium ramen were in front of the couple. Their eyes sparkled as they saw the finely cooked Wagyu beef matched with the signature Ichiraku aroma. Naruto gulped and tilted his head towards Hinata. Similarly, Tyuki leaned over the counter to watch Hinata. It was as if she was a judge at a cooking show. She tucked strands of her hair behind her ear and took the first slurp. As soon as Hinata finished her initial slurp, she placed her chopsticks back in the bowl, pressed her hands together and gave out the brightest smile ever. It's the best. I love it. Naruto and Tyuki sighed in relief and victory. Ayame cheered and applauded. I really did my best on that one, since this is the very first time Naruto will treat his girlfriend for a bowl of ramen. The old man commented. Awesome. Naruto whined in emberment, which made Hinata giggle. They all shared stories and laughter, all the while enjoying the warm bowl of the special date ramen. This was all Naruto could ever wish for. It was just like a dream by how the moment tasted like. And it's not just because of Ichiraku's famous broth nor because of the premium Wagyu beef, he knew that there was something else as well this time. He knew it by the way Hinata smiled wholeheartedly and how her smile made his chest swell hundredfold with an unexplainable kind of joy he only gets when around her. He knew it by how lost he was right in this very moment. He knew it this time. He was sure. It was Hinata he loved, and he loved her more than ramen. Who would have thought that the only thing who brought him warmth and comfort as a child would be superseded by Hinata alone? With contented smiles, they greeted Ayame and Tuki-san goodnight, and exited the shop. They strolled along the village with hands in each other's as they watched the moon take its full shape. Naruto-kun, Hinata called while looking up at him. Thank you for today. Her smile made him jumpy, and he instantly ruffled the back of his head, admitting, well, actually, about that, I'm actually planning to treat you to a full-course dinner, however I don't have enough datbayo. Naruto let go of Hinata's hand and stood in front of her bowing in apology. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. She giggled and hurriedly went over him. Don't sweat it, Naruto-kun. I love everything about today. Honest. You love Ichiraku, right? Naruto nodded in response. Then, I'd like to be a part of everything that you love. This is the best date ever and there's nothing about today that I would change. Besides, just being with you is enough for me. His heart squeezed at her statement. With wide eyes, he could only dry gulp. Why was she so good at this? Well, I won't fall behind you. When I become Hokage, I'll certainly treat you to a full-course dinner Ibeo. Naruto challenged. That's right. Believe it. I stand by what I say, Hinata. So be ready for it. Whatever restaurant, name it. I believe you, Naruto-kun. Hinata laughed and took his hand into hers, swaying them together as they walked. But how about I'll cook you a full-course dinner instead? What do you say? Whoa, you're gonna cook for me, Hinata. A full-course dinner. Is that true? He chirped in excitement and embraced her tightly, until he realized that she was defeating him again. HMPH. Hey. She playfully broke out of his embrace and ran. He tried to come after her, pouting and protesting that he'll definitely win her over the next time. Ramen might have made Naruto's tummy full, yet it was Hinata who filled his heart like it's about to burst.